Welcome to the off-panel playground, where comic book content meets video games. I'm High Definition, and this is a breakdown of all the details and Easter eggs you may have missed in the recent announcement trailer for Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls. This 4 vs 4 fighting game from Arc System Works was a surprise to us fighting game fans, but I've low-key been dreaming about something like this happening, especially for me being a huge fan of Marvel vs Capcom and other fighting games, period. While I won't go into huge aspects of the intricate gameplay like my boy Rufelmonger, there's still a lot of detail, possible teases, and other things we can pick up from the trailer. So let's talk about it. We start out this trailer with the PlayStation Studios logo being drawn, penciled in, and then colored before the screen moves to the right. We then see Captain America's shield and part of Iron Man's suit being drawn in as well, similar to a comic book draft. On the top, we can see this is all being done on what appears to be an artboard that comic book artists use at the starting process of their illustrations. All of these details showing our first clue at the art style of the game. But the video starts with dialogue from what appears to be obviously Captain America, based off the subtitle saying, "I fight for freedom." We then hear another voice that says, "Try and impress me," which is most likely dialogue from Tony Stark, since there's this frame teasing that Iron Man suit I mentioned earlier. Then Captain America responds with, "We're friends. Why do we keep doing this?" Tony then says, "Do you really think a vibranium shield is enough against my cutting edge tech?" All before we hear both of them saying, "Let's do this," where we get an even better look at the Marvel artboard we'll be seeing a lot of in this game, with Captain America and Iron Man being drawn on both sides like a rough draft. We then zoom out a bit as these characters get colored in before transitioning to our first snippet of gameplay. I believe this dialogue and transition is a small tease to character intros before they fight, just like we've seen already from other Arc System Works games like Dragon Ball Fighters and Guilty Gear Strive, where characters did pretty much the same thing before duking it out. And I absolutely can't wait to see the many interactions we could get between heroes and villains alike. Our first revealed characters are then shown, with Captain America sporting a jacket with his iconic suit underneath. But what stood out to me most was Iron Man's design that appears to be very Japanese inspired, like a Gundam. The Arc System Works producer for this game, Takeshi Yamanaka, says that when they first submitted their designs to Marvel, they got the impression that they wouldn't be particularly positive about it. Wondering what was wrong, they told the Japanese-based developers to show them the Marvel that they, Arc System, want to create in their style. So that Iron Man design definitely pays homage to a lot of that distinct Japanese anime robot flavor. So expect every character to not only look unique to Arc System's vision, but familiar to the comic book fans. More like an East meets West comic book style. Our first stage being showcased for this game is this busy New York City stage, full of spectators and plenty of Easter eggs in the background that help build the world of this specific Marvel universe, as well as some possible characters we could see in the future. As Iron Man combos Cap to the left of the screen, in the background we can see an ad for Auntie's Wheat Cakes, an obvious nod to Aunt May's wheat cakes that Peter Parker is a huge fan of. Does Aunt May actually own a wheat cake business in this universe? We can also spot a Roxxon logo on a building on the top right, an Oscorp building right beside that, and the Avengers Tower further in the background. On the left side of the stage, we can see what appears to be a theater and a taxi advertising Dazzler's disco show. Could she be another character or a future character on the roster? If you also pay attention to the signposts here, you can spot stickers of Spider-Man's face with an X on top of him. I'm guessing there's some Spidey haters everywhere, huh? Anyway, below that, most notably, we can see stickers of Lockjaw as well, a fan favorite Marvel K9 affiliated with the Inhumans. Arc System producer Yamanaka-sama says that we wanted to sprinkle in a few surprises and leave room for characters who have never been playable in a fighting game before. So, can we expect to see Dazzler and or Lockjaw playable in the future? We'll just have to see, but I'm excited to be surprised nonetheless. As Captain America launches Iron Man into the air, we can get not only a better look at that Roxxon building in the background, but also a view of the Baxter building, the home and headquarters of the Fantastic Four. We also get a look at this universe's J. Jonah Jameson, spitting nothing but Spider-Man propaganda, I'm sure. But right next to him, we can get a better view of a business being run by Janet Van Dyne. Could we be seeing the Fantastic Four and the Wasp in the future? Again, only time will tell, and I'm all here for it. After Captain America gives Iron Man a taste of an air combo, followed by a foot, Cap does a ground combo before calling in Ms. Marvel for an assist attack, similar to what we've seen already in Marvel vs. Capcom. But what's most interesting here, we see a yellow orb of some sort moving from Cap into Ms. Marvel, where we then see that player taking full control of her instead. This here, ladies and gentlemen, is where the name of the game comes from. Tagging into your teammates is literally a fighting soul, as the game's name implies, which is a cool detail on its own for a tag team fighting game. But check this out, that comic book illustration art style returns here too, with the appearance of Ben Day dots, a commercial printing technique using small dots of color named after 19th century illustrator and printer Benjamin Henry Day. Ben Day dots were used in color comics in the 1950s and the 60s to create effects of shading and secondary colors inexpensively. And while I believe that coloring style has been pretty much discontinued in modern day comics, it's still good to see a part of comic book history being shown here. We also get another view of Janet Van Dyne's business in the background, but we then see another tease to yet another gameplay mechanic, as Ms. Marvel does an attack that looks like it would result in a screen transition, just like we've seen before in Guilty Gear Strive. The gameplay cuts though to ignore that and instead shows Ms. Marvel doing what appears to be a spot dodge from Iron Man's missile attack. Yet another mechanic we've seen already, but this time from Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Only time will tell if this mechanic is universal or more character specific. As Ms. Marvel combos Iron Man to the left of the screen, we get a tease at another gameplay mechanic, a crossover counter, where we can see Spider-Man get called in during a block string. We also see the comic book art style of the game in this frame here too, as that beautiful Marvel artboard gets shown quickly at the top of the screen before Spider-Man counters Ms. Marvel into the air. Iron Man then performs a unibeam before we see his fighting soul switch to Spider-Man before he goes away. This delayed tag-in mechanic is also something we've seen before in Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which allowed you to do something similar. So it's good to see Arc System using inspiration from multiple fighting games to make something truly exciting to play or watch. As Spider-Man combos Ms. Marvel to the right, we see him use a Spidey Sense counter, where we get yet another glimpse of those iconic Ben Day dots being used here. And this won't be the only place we'll see it either, more on that later. But here we then see Spider-Man do what Kamala was trying to do to Iron Man earlier, doing a heavy attack into a screen transition, just like we've seen in Guilty Gear Strive once again. But we also get some destruction during that transition, just like we've also seen in the game Injustice. Moving on to the park location, we get to see another possible character confirmed for the game's roster, and some character outfits we could see in the future as well. All of this is featured on this statue of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, showing classic appearances of Iron Man, Captain America, but most notably our favorite god of thunder, Thor. I'm really excited to see how the devs cook and plan to design his look to fit into this East meets West art style. Right above our fighters here, I wonder if that's a glimpse of an old helicarrier. Did a battle happen here in the past that inspired the city of New York to make this park? Most notably here though on the screen, we can see signs for an Avengers museum. Could this be yet another stage transition? Or simply another stage we could see in the future? Moving on, we see Kamala call in Captain America as she defends from a web attack from Spider-Man. Cap then throws his shield as an assist attack before striking a pose, followed by a third member of that team being tagged in with our first reveal of this universe's Star-Lord. before Miss Marvel transfers that fighting soul onto him as the player switches control. Again, check out those sick Ben-Day dots here too. We then see Star-Lord begin to do what looks like his level 1 super attack, which is very reminiscent of Dante's super from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Also, check out those Ben-Day dots appearing here as well. We see those dots show up shortly after when Spider-Man performs yet another different kind of counterattack. Definitely some nice touches here, I'd say also. We then see Spider-Man follow up this counter with an assist into our first appearance from this game's Ghost Rider, most specifically the Robbie Reyes version of the character, which was not only a fan favorite from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, but also a character that you could play in the Marvel's Midnight Suns game. Can we expect to see more members of the Midnight Suns like Doctor Strange, Blade, Moon Knight, or the Scarlet Witch? Moving on, we see Robbie combo Star-Lord to the left of the screen, before knocking him into a construction area and then transitioning to yet another part of this New York City stage. A back alley that features damage control guarding a crime scene at Fogwell's gym, a location we've already seen in Daredevil media. Right below that sign, you can also spot a logo for the Hand, ninjas that Matt Murdock fought, and also a possible nod to a possible Elektra character we may see in the future. Speaking of characters we may see in the future, you can also spot Matt Murdock himself in the building on the left that appears to be the Nelson and Murdock law firm as he spectates the fight below. Does this mean he's deconfirmed, or will Arc System be utilizing some multiversal shenanigans to bring in another version of the character? Soon after, we see Star-Lord combo into 2 assists. Captain America, followed by our first look at this game's version of Dr. Doom, followed by a tease at part of his moveset with this cool command grab. This next detail made me lose my mind though. After Doom performs the grab, he follows up with charging his hand with energy before smacking down Ghost Rider. But take a look at those dots in the middle of his attack. This here is a nod to the Kirby Crackle, or known to others as Kirby dots. This effect is named after its creator, the legendary comic artist Jack Kirby. While the Kirby Crackle first appeared in Kirby's work during 1965 to 1966 in Fantastic Four and Thor, comics historian Harry Mendrick of the Jack Kirby Museum and Research Center has traced the earliest version of the stylistic device as far back as 1940 to Jack Kirby and Joe Simmons' Blue Bolt number 5. We can also see more of these Kirby dots being used in more of Doom's attacks, which is of course another nice touch to paying homage to the past of comics. Moving back to our gameplay, we see Dr. Doom has a slow walking speed, but he makes up for this with his dashes being a teleportation. So it'll be cool to see other characters incorporate some type of teleporting of their own as well. Shortly after that though, we see Doom transition into a super attack of his own where he pulls out a gun, similar to what we've seen him do in Marvel vs. Capcom in other media. This looks like it also has the potential to create a stage transition, just like we've seen earlier. But we then cut to instead see Dr. Doom do an air dash teleport cross up into an orbital laser before Ghost Rider gets knocked up into the air and Doom performs a familiar air grab. Here we also get a better look at Matt Murdock in the window and the Nelson and Murdock sign. As Doom throws down Ghost Rider, Star-Lord attempts an assist attack before Ghost Rider calls in and shows our first appearance of Storm in the game. If her assist attack is this DP, I could definitely see her being a top tier pick for all types of team setups. Anyway, as we see Ghost Rider bringing his fighting soul over to Storm during this assist, we can get a tease that Storm may have an airborne super attack here as well, which looks absolutely gorgeous by the way. As the characters move closer to the skybox, we also get a glimpse of what those tentacles in the background are coming from, but this gameplay falls short of revealing that. In the behind the scenes video for the game, we do get to see further up, and it's an appearance of Shuma Gorath from Marvel vs. Capcom. Unfortunately, its name did get retconned into Gargantos instead, since apparently Shuma Gorath was actually a character from Conan the Barbarian. Believe it or not. Anyway, moving forward in the announcement video gameplay, we then get the reveal that made the majority of viewers lose their collective minds with the fact that this game will be a 4 versus 4 type of game. And the gameplay that follows shows how crazy calling out all those assists can get. Before you feel overwhelmed though, Marvel's Senior Product Development Manager, Michael Francisco, says that learning multiple characters for these 4-man teams can be daunting, but the team at Arc System designed, well, a system that adapts to your playstyle. So you can either duke it out as just the leader in 3 assists, or you can tag in your assists to switch the leader to change the matchup on the fly. A playstyle I can definitely expect pro players to utilize. Moving on, we then see some hectic gameplay of multiple assist characters on screen at the same time. But a little further ahead, we see Star-Lord comboing into what looks like what the fighting game community calls a TAC, or a Team Air combo. The nice touch here though is that we once again get to see those Ben-Day dots once again in action. We then get some cuts of characters using what appears to be part of their level 3 supers most likely, even possibly teasing that we could see transformations in the game. We get to see most notably Iron Man hopping into his Hulkbuster and Ms. Marvel using Embiggen. Could these be character installs or transformations, or will these just be their level 3 supers? Again, only time will tell. After this showcase of supers, we see a clip from possibly what may be part of the game's intro, or quite possibly a team super attack, or what we call it in Marvel vs. Capcom, a team hyper combo. We then cut to the title of the game, followed by a clip of what we may expect to see when a match starts. But this also looks like a tease to yet another stage we can expect in the game. My guess is that this may be the collector's arena. I felt like the statues in the background would be a clue, but I could only make out the possible throne the collector might be sitting on in between those statues. If you have any idea of what these statues are, be sure to let me know down in the comments. Anyway, I'm so excited for this game, as it was practically only something I dreamed about happening. Marvel is truly back, baby, just without the Capcom. And I'm no doubt going to try and go pro myself with this game right here. Anyway, this question's for you though. What characters do you expect to see revealed for Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls in the future? Let me know down below. As always, thank you so much for watching if you have, and remember,
今しばらく楽しみにお待ちいただければなと思います。Stay tuned.